Have you ever felt that the deeper you think, the more isolated you become? The sensation that the more you understand, the fewer people want to listen? It's not an illusion. History has shown that society often fears deep thinkers, not because they're wrong, but because they perceive truths others prefer to avoid. From Socrates and Galileo to Tesla, brilliant minds have been mocked, ignored, or silenced, not due to a lack of intelligence, but because they made others uncomfortable. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer posited that intelligence is a curse, because it allows individuals to see the world too clearly, leading to isolation. When encountering someone strong or wealthy, we might admire or envy them, yet still feel secure. However, facing someone with superior intellect challenges our very identity, as intelligence is deeply tied to how we understand and define ourselves. A deep thinker doesn't need to speak. Their mere presence can highlight others' limitations, prompting defensive or avoidant reactions. This explains why society often struggles to accept those who think differently. Why does intelligence make others uncomfortable? It's about how people perceive different forms of superiority. Physical strength or wealth are external attributes and rarely threaten one's ego. In contrast, intelligence is intertwined with personal identity. Encountering someone profoundly intelligent can feel threatening, even if they say nothing, as they mirror our cognitive gaps. This often leads to avoidance, dismissal, or belittlement of the deep thinker. Thus, throughout history, many great thinkers weren't opposed because they were wrong, but because they made others uncomfortable with themselves. The challenge posed by intelligence disrupts societal norms and personal egos, which people fiercely protect. Moreover, society often favors confidence over intellect. In conversations, a confident speaker, even if superficial, is often more trusted than one who speaks with nuance. Consequently, simplistic rhetoric gains influence, while deep thinkers are deemed too complex. This is the paradox of intelligence. The deeper the understanding, the more one is alienated. Y.T. Scribe. Intelligence isn't just socially opposed, it's biologically, psychologically, and culturally resisted. The presence of a deep thinker can trigger survival responses in others' brains, akin to facing real threats. Modern neuroscience indicates that feeling intellectually inferior activates the amygdala, the brain region processing fear and threats. In essence, intelligence can instinctively feel threatening. Y.T. Scribe. Why is this so? Throughout evolution, human survival depended on group integration, not individual brilliance. In ancient tribal societies, exclusion could mean death. Thus, humans prioritize social acceptance over exceptional intellect. Y.T. Scribe. When an intelligent individual emerges, they inadvertently disrupt social balance, challenging norms, values, and collective thought systems. This is why deep thinkers often feel isolated, not due to a lack of social skills, but because their intellect sets them apart. Y.T. Scribe. A 2021 Stanford University study found that in one-on-one interactions, people feel less threatened by intelligence. However, in group settings, feelings of being overshadowed intensify, leading to exclusionary or dismissive behaviors toward deep thinkers. Social status becomes more crucial than reason. Y.T. Scribe. Additionally, cognitive biases like the Dunning-Kruger effect, wherein less competent individuals overestimate their abilities, status quo bias, and the backfire effect make society resistant to new ideas. Intelligent individuals are often rejected not because they're wrong, but because they unsettle others' sense of security. Y.T. Scribe. In the digital age, the rejection of intellect isn't merely social or psychological, it's also a consequence of how technology and media platforms shape thinking. Social media prioritizes engagement over depth, creating an ecosystem where simple, emotional, and controversial content spreads faster than nuanced, complex ideas. Deep thinkers often struggle to condense intricate thoughts into viral-friendly snippets, leaving them at a disadvantage online. Y.T. Scribe. As a result, society increasingly favors entertainment over enlightenment, making it harder for intellectuals to gain recognition. Public discourse is dominated by echo chambers, where individuals only encounter viewpoints that reinforce their existing beliefs. This intensifies resistance to opposing ideas, a trait often associated with deep thinkers. Y.T. Scribe. The rejection of intellect isn't confined to the online realm. It begins within foundational societal institutions like schools, workplaces, and politics. In education, obedient students who memorize information are often valued more than those who question or think critically. In the workplace, innovative thinkers may be sidelined if they don't align with corporate culture. In politics, truth-tellers risk losing elections, while those who echo popular sentiments prevail. Y.T. Scribe. The harsh reality is that society only celebrates intelligence when it's deemed safe and acceptable. Many geniuses, such as Galileo, Tesla, or Turing, were honored posthumously, once their ideas no longer threatened the status quo. This indicates that society doesn't fear intelligence per se, it fears the change that intelligence brings. Y.T. Scribe. History has shown that many great thinkers weren't celebrated during their lifetimes. Instead, they were ignored, mocked, or punished. Why? Because they were ahead of their time. Profound, transformative ideas are often deemed dangerous until widely accepted. Y.T. Scribe. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, encouraged critical thinking and meaningful living. Yet, he was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. He chose death to uphold his ideals, famously stating, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Y.T. Scribe. Galileo faced a similar fate. When he demonstrated that the Earth revolves around the Sun, a now obvious scientific fact, he was accused of heresy by the Church, placed under house arrest, and forced to recant his findings. YouTube. +1. Y.T. Scribe. +1. Y.T. Scribe. Nietzsche was deemed insane for declaring that traditional morality was artificial and that individuals must create their own values. Today, his philosophy underpins many modern humanities disciplines. Y.T. Scribe. Tesla, a visionary ahead of his time with dreams of global free energy, was sidelined by financial powers. Alan Turing, the father of computer science, was ostracized for his sexuality and died by suicide in isolation. Even Hypatia, an ancient female philosopher, was murdered by religious authorities for promoting scientific thought and critical reasoning. They all shared a common trait: they voiced truths too early and were thus rejected. Society doesn't fear intelligence, it fears the change that intelligence incites. Only when it no longer poses a threat is it celebrated. Y.T. Scribe. +1. Medium. +1. If you're a deep thinker who has felt isolated or misunderstood, you're not alone. Throughout history, the greatest minds were often unappreciated in their time because their ideas surpassed societal comprehension. However, this doesn't mean deep thinkers must live in perpetual solitude or despair. Y.T. Scribe. Instead, it's crucial to navigate society wisely. Not everyone is ready or capable of embracing profound ideas. Therefore, be selective in sharing. Reserve significant and nuanced thoughts for those who truly value depth, rather than attempting to convert the unwilling masses. Y.T. Scribe. Seek out like-minded communities through books, intellectual groups, or online forums. You don't need millions to understand you, just a few who truly listen at the right time, in the right context. Y.T. Scribe. Moreover, learning to present deep ideas in an accessible manner is vital. Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Deep thinkers needn't dilute content but should enhance their communication skills to connect more effectively. Y.T. Scribe. Finally, remember Schopenhauer's words: "Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see." As a deep thinker, you perceive what others cannot, and that can be unsettling. Yet, it's you who can pave the way for human progress. Y.T. Scribe. Today's society often praises intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking, but in reality, most people prioritize comfort and stability over complex truths. This isn't accidental, it stems from our brain structure and societal conditioning. Y.T. Scribe. Psychologically, the human brain seeks cognitive ease, preferring simple, familiar, and easily understood ideas. Conversely, when confronted with new, complex, or contradictory information, the brain reacts as if facing a threat. This explains why many reject uncomfortable truths, even when well-founded. Additionally, cognitive biases like system justification, and groupthink further entrench resistance to change. People often prefer maintaining a flawed system over facing the uncertainty that reform brings.